The same frequency that fries your phone during an EMP is being broadcast from every 5G tower right now. You've probably heard the term 5G thrown around everywhere lately. Your phone company keeps texting you about it. Tech nerds won't shut up about it. But what exactly is this mysterious technology that's supposedly going to change everything? Well, here's the simple truth. 5G stands for fifth generation, and it's just the latest version of mobile phone network technology. That's it. No magic, no sci-fi wizardry. Just the next step up from 4G, which was the next step up from 3G, and so on. Makes sense, right? But here's where it gets interesting. 5G networks use radio waves to send information exactly like 4G and Wi-Fi do. The difference? 5G can handle way more data and send it much faster than anything we've had before. We're talking about downloading a full movie in seconds instead of minutes. That's the kind of speed that makes your current internet connection look like it's moving through molasses. Now, 5G operates across a range of frequencies, and this is where things get a bit technical, but stay with me. Some of these frequencies are below 6 gigahertz, which is pretty similar to what we already use. Others are much higher, reaching into what experts call millimeter wave frequencies. These higher frequencies can carry tons of data but don't travel as far, which is why you'll see more 5G towers popping up in cities. The weird part is how many devices can actually connect to 5G networks. Sure, your smartphone is the obvious one, but we're also talking about cars that can communicate with traffic lights, smart home equipment that knows when you're coming home before you do, and industrial machines that can coordinate with each other like they're having a conversation. It's like giving everything around us the ability to chat. Then there's the scale of this whole thing. Over 1 billion people worldwide are already using 5G networks in their daily lives. That's roughly 1 out of every 8 people on the planet. Your neighbor might be streaming 4K videos while video calling their grandmother in another country, all thanks to 5G, and they probably don't even think twice about it. Let's not forget that 5G isn't just about faster phones. Doctors are using it for remote surgeries. Farmers are monitoring crops with connected sensors. Emergency responders can send high-definition video from disaster scenes in real time. The technology is already quietly working behind the scenes in ways most people never realize. But here's what's really fascinating about all this 5G excitement. Despite being such a straightforward upgrade in wireless technology, it's somehow become the center of wild theories and scary stories. People worry it might fry their electronics or create dangerous electromagnetic pulses that could shut down entire cities. Which brings us to an important question: could something as common as a cell phone tower really generate the kind of electromagnetic pulse that science fiction movies love to dramatize? The answer might surprise you, and understanding it starts with knowing what electromagnetic fields and pulses actually are. You know how your phone suddenly stops working when you walk into certain buildings, or when your car radio gets fuzzy under a bridge? That's electromagnetic fields at work. But here's where things get confusing. People mix up EMFs with EMPs all the time, and honestly, it's like confusing a gentle breeze with a tornado. An electromagnetic field, or EMF, is basically invisible energy created whenever electricity moves around. Your hair dryer makes one. Your microwave makes one. Even the wires in your walls create tiny EMFs just by carrying power to your outlets. They're everywhere, floating around us like an invisible soup we swim through every single day. Radio stations beam them out to reach your car stereo. TV towers shoot them across entire cities so you can binge watch your favorite shows. Then there's your Wi-Fi router, that little box probably sitting on your desk right now. It's constantly pumping out EMFs to keep your devices connected. Power lines outside your house? Yep, they're EMF factories too. The weird part is we've been living with these things for over a century, and most people never even think about them. But here's where the confusion really kicks in. An electromagnetic pulse, or EMP, is a completely different beast. Think of EMFs as background music playing softly in a coffee shop. An EMP? That's like someone suddenly cranking a massive speaker to maximum volume and blowing out everyone's eardrums. It's a sudden, violent burst of electromagnetic energy that can actually fry electronics. Real EMPs come from some pretty dramatic sources. Solar storms from space can create them when charged particles slam into Earth's atmosphere. Makes sense, right? The sun basically throws electromagnetic tantrums that can mess with our satellites and power grids. Then there are nuclear explosions. The electromagnetic pulse from a nuclear blast can knock out electronics across hundreds of miles. We're talking about forces so powerful they make your phone charger look like a birthday candle next to a rocket engine. Well, here's what doesn't create EMPs. Your everyday gadgets. That smartphone in your pocket? Not even close. Your laptop, tablet, smart TV, or wireless headphones? Nope, nope, and nope. These devices produce gentle, steady EMFs, not the sudden, catastrophic bursts that define electromagnetic pulses. It's like the difference between a leaky faucet dripping water and a fire hose exploding at full pressure. Let's not forget that lightning can create small EMPs too. Ever notice how sometimes a nearby lightning strike can mess with your electronics? That's a natural EMP in action, but even those are usually too weak to cause permanent damage to most modern devices. The bottom line, your wireless gadgets and cell towers are constantly creating EMFs, but they're nowhere near powerful enough to generate actual EMPs. They don't have the juice, the sudden burst, or the intensity required. But wait, if regular devices can't create EMPs, why are people so worried about 5G specifically causing them? That's where the science gets really interesting. Now let's tackle the big question everyone's asking. Can your shiny new 5G phone actually create an electromagnetic pulse that fries every electronic device within a 5-mile radius? Well, spoiler alert, you won't be accidentally shutting down your neighbor's smart TV anytime soon. Here's the deal with 5G technology. Those radio waves coming from cell towers and your phone are what scientists call non-ionizing radiation. Sounds scary, right? But here's what that actually means. These waves are incredibly weak. We're talking about energy levels so low they couldn't heat up a cup of coffee if they tried for 1,000 years. Your microwave oven produces waves about 100,000 times more powerful than 5G signals, and even that just warms up your leftover pizza. Real EMPs are completely different beasts altogether. Think lightning strikes that can knock out power grids or solar storms that mess with satellites orbiting Earth. These events release massive amounts of energy in microseconds, like the difference between a gentle breeze and a Category 5 hurricane. 5G towers, on the other hand, release their energy gradually and consistently, like a steady trickle from a garden hose rather than a fire hydrant explosion. Let's get technical for just a second without melting your brain. EMPs need what's called high-energy broadband electromagnetic radiation to actually damage electronics. That's science speak for really powerful waves across many frequencies all at once. 5G operates at specific controlled frequencies and power levels that are regulated by government agencies worldwide. The Federal Communications Commission doesn't mess around when it comes to this stuff. They've set strict limits that keep 5G signals thousands of times weaker than what would be needed to create any kind of pulse effect. But wait, there's more fascinating science here. Even if somehow 5G could generate more power, it still wouldn't create an EMP. The wave patterns are all wrong. EMPs require sudden, sharp bursts of energy that create specific electromagnetic field patterns. 5G signals are designed to carry data smoothly and continuously. They're basically the opposite of what you'd need for an electromagnetic pulse. Then there's the real-world evidence that should put everyone's minds at ease. Over 1.5 billion people worldwide use 5G networks every single day. If these signals were creating EMPs, we'd have reports of mass electronic failures everywhere 5G towers operate. Instead, what do we see? People streaming videos faster, downloading apps quicker, and going about their normal lives with zero electronic meltdowns. The scientific community has been pretty clear about this too. Major research institutions, telecommunications experts, and physics professors all agree 5G simply cannot produce electromagnetic pulses. The energy requirements are off by factors of millions, and the signal characteristics are completely incompatible with EMP generation. What's really interesting is understanding why people might think 5G could cause EMPs in the first place. The confusion often comes from mixing up different types of electromagnetic phenomena, which brings us to some important distinctions about how fear and misinformation spread around new technologies. You know what's funny about 5G health scares? People worry more about invisible radio waves than they do about actually dangerous stuff like driving to work every morning. The irony hits different when you realize your daily commute is statistically riskier than living next to a cell tower for decades. Here's what actually happens when 5G waves hit your body. Nothing dramatic. These radio frequencies are what scientists call non-ionizing radiation. That's a fancy way of saying they don't pack enough punch to knock electrons off atoms or mess with your DNA structure. Your microwave oven uses similar frequencies, but at much higher power levels. thousands of times stronger than any 5G signal you'll encounter walking around town. The World Health Organization isn't exactly known for taking risks with public safety recommendations. They've spent years reviewing 5G technology alongside other major health agencies worldwide. Their conclusion? Current exposure levels from 5G networks pose no established health risks to humans. That's not corporate spin or government cover-up talk. That's based on mountains of research data from independent scientists across multiple countries. But wait, there's more good news brewing. Large-scale studies tracking thousands of people over many years consistently show no link between radio frequency exposure and cancer rates. The American Cancer Society points out something interesting. While cell phone use exploded over the past 30 years, brain cancer rates actually stayed flat or even decreased slightly in most populations. Then there's the immune system angle that gets people worked up online. Some folks claim 5G waves weaken your body's natural defenses against illness. Well, here's the thing. Scientists have tested this theory extensively in controlled laboratory conditions. They exposed immune system cells to radio frequencies similar to 5G signals. The result? No measurable impact on immune function whatsoever. Let's not forget the dosage factor that often gets overlooked in heated discussions. Everything can be harmful at extreme levels. Even drinking too much water can kill you through something called water intoxication. The key question isn't whether electromagnetic fields can theoretically affect living tissue, but whether 5G creates anywhere near the exposure levels needed to cause problems. Current research suggests we're nowhere close to dangerous thresholds. And the weird part is how our bodies already deal with electromagnetic energy every single day. Sunlight bombards us with radiation that's actually millions of times more energetic than 5G signals. Infrared heat from your morning coffee packs more electromagnetic punch than standing directly under a cell tower. Your own nervous system generates electrical fields stronger than what 5G adds to your environment. International safety standards aren't just random numbers pulled from thin air either. They're based on finding the lowest level where any biological effect occurs, then setting legal limits at least 50 times lower than that threshold. It's like setting the speed limit at 5 miles per hour because crashes become dangerous at 300. Makes sense, right? But knowing the real science is just half the battle. Understanding why these myths spread so aggressively reveals something fascinating about human psychology and modern information warfare. Fear makes people do funny things. When the first cars showed up, folks worried they'd scare horses to death or make women's organs fall out from going too fast. Seriously, that was a real concern back then. Now we're seeing the same pattern with 5G technology, except this time the rumors spread faster than wildfire on social media. The internet loves a good scary story. Headlines screaming 5G frying your brain get way more clicks than scientists find 5G radio waves totally safe. News websites know this. They craft dramatic titles that make your heart race, even when the actual science inside the article says something completely different. But here's the weird part. Most people only read those scary headlines and never dig deeper into the real facts. Then there's the confusion between EMFs and EMPs that we talked about earlier. Remember how EMFs are just energy fields around us, while EMPs are massive bursts that can actually damage electronics? Well, many people mix these up online. They see electromagnetic in both terms and assume they're the same thing. That's like thinking a gentle breeze and a tornado are identical because they're both moving air. Social media algorithms make everything worse. When you click on one conspiracy theory video, the platform thinks you want more of the same content. Soon your entire feed fills up with increasingly wild stories about 5G towers controlling minds or causing mysterious illnesses. The algorithm doesn't care if the information is true, it just wants to keep you scrolling and clicking. Let's not forget how our brains work against us here. Humans have something called confirmation bias, which means we tend to believe information that matches what we already think. If someone already feels nervous about new technology, they're more likely to believe scary 5G stories and ignore scientific evidence saying it's safe. Makes sense from an evolutionary perspective, right? Our ancestors survived by being cautious about new and potentially dangerous things. But why do these myths spread so much faster than facts? Simple. Fear travels at light speed, while science moves like a careful turtle. Scientists spend months or years studying something before making conclusions. Meanwhile, someone can post a scary video claiming 5G causes headaches and get millions of views in a single day. The scientific response comes later. when people have already made up their minds. Another factor is that some groups deliberately spread false information to sell products or gain followers. They might sell EMF protection devices or special crystals that supposedly shield you from 5G radiation. These sellers have financial reasons to keep people scared, even when the science shows no real danger exists. The good news? You now understand the difference between actual EMPs and regular radio waves from 5G networks. You know that 5G uses non-ionizing radiation that can't damage your DNA or create electromagnetic pulses. You've learned that major health organizations worldwide have studied 5G extensively and found it safe for normal use. Armed with real facts instead of internet rumors, you can make informed decisions about 5G technology without unnecessary worry.